My idea to make America great again is to follow the wisdom of Confucius and a few other leaders. Confucius said that the strength of a nation is based or derived from the integrity of the home. One of my favorite religious leaders, David O. McKay, said that no success can compensate for failure in the home. My belief is that the strength of a nation is based on the strength of its citizens. If we want to have strong America, if we want to make America great again, I believe we need to start with making Americans great again. Are you with me? If you're with me, put a comment below saying, yes, we need to make Americans great again. One of the ways that I think that can happen is just taking a look at what is going on in the home. If we follow the wisdom of Confucius and some of these other leaders like David McKay, what's going on in our homes in America? The deterioration of the family, I think, is one of the big reasons why America has fallen from some of its former glory, if you will. I believe that part of the reason why there's some big problems in families is because of several things. I'm not going to get into all of the things that are causing America to have problems right now. I do have a podcast that I'm on called Prepper Talk Radio. If you're interested, look that up. We're on YouTube, we're on all the platforms. We do get into a few more of the political and the preparedness things and the world things, but on this channel, I'm going to focus in on some of the monetary things and the financials of what's making America kind of go the way it's going. They say, statistically speaking, that most marriages end in divorce. Well, then they say, what are the causes of those divorces? One of the leading causes for divorce in America is money. Now, I've sat down with families. I've sat down across the kitchen table with husbands and wives. I've been on calls with husbands and wives, and I've coached them and helped them and worked with them to make their finances sing and just really be in great places. I've helped a couple go from negative cash flow every month to hundreds of dollars positive cash flow. What would that do with your marriage? If you and your husband or wife were right now negative, stressed out, how are you going to pay the bills? You open up your bank account and there's more month than there is money, and you're like, oh, we got more bills than we got money in the bank. Let's say you make six figures. You're making a good income. Finally, you got to the point where we're making good income. And then you say, but what is happening? How come we have nothing to show for it? All of that is because of money management. Now, there's two separate skills. The main skill is making money. We've got to make money for sure, absolutely. But then once you make it, what are you doing with it? Are you turning that income into wealth? Are you creating wealth? Or are you fighting and arguing over, $5 or $6 spending sprees that people are having? I remember many years ago, my wife and I had a conversation because I had some things that I wanted to buy, and I had made the money to buy it. I went and made the money that was necessary to buy the thing that I wanted. And this is actually in my free ebook. If you go to pariscluff.com/free book, I'll explain this whole story to you. And what was cool is that we were being nickeled and dimed by just these frivolous spending things that would happen. And it was $10 here, $20 there, and before you know it, $800 or $900 flew out the door. And instead of arguing or fighting or having a divorce fight, is what I call them, we sat down and said, let's figure this out so that this doesn't continue to happen. And thankfully, we got on the same page, and we've been on the same page for many years. My wife and I have been. We've been married for 28 years. We have 5 children. So we know what it's like to, number one, have a couple and have a marriage that is dealing with the finances of this world. I'm not super rich or wealthy. I mean, I have some nice things now, but that wasn't always the case. I'm literally a 10-year overnight success, meaning today you might look at my success and say, wow, he's so fortunate and lucky, but you weren't there those nights when I was on the floor crying, or I was I was grinding it out at the office. Those are wealth is real. And so anyways, to get back to the idea here is that if you have good communication and you are on the same page, and you know how to manage your money, you're going to be way more successful. And one of the ways I define successful is stress-free. One of the leading causes of stress, they say the leading cause of stress is money. Money. And so what if you were able to make enough money, and then not just make enough money, but you managed it effectively such that you had a positive cash flow? Now, when I sit down with a lot of couples, I can actually tell if they grew up as kids in a home that was a broken home or a divorced home. I can tell because of the way that they spend money now, the way that they think about money now, the way that their mindset and mentality around money is today has a lot to do with what they did and saw modeling, or their parents modeled as money modeling when they were growing up in their homes. And whether it was mom or dad, or it was grandma or grandpa, or whether it was their friends' parents, some of the reasons why you're spending, this is for you now. I'm not talking about clients that I've had in the past, I'm talking about you right now. Some of the reason why you're managing the money the way you are right now is because of the things that you learned as a child in your own home, not on purpose. There was no malintent. That's just the way things were. That's just the way things are. You've never been taught how to manage your money effectively. And I really do believe that there's less of an income problem and more of a money management problem. But I do also believe that we need to make more money. No doubt. We definitely need to have more people making more money. After you make that money, though, what are you doing with it? Are you spending it frivolously? Are you in debt up to your eyeballs? Do you have no savings? Do you have little to no risk management, meaning like insurance? Do you have the wrong kind of insurance or no insurance at all? If anything major catastrophe was to happen, would your family be okay? That's part of being a provider as a man, is not just to provide an income, but to then protect your family against the risks of life. And insurance is a great way to do that. Savings accounts are a great way to do that. And I'm just telling you right now that I've sat in front of families where once they get the money right, once they get that correct, then they start to feel like they can breathe. They can take that deep breath. Do that with me now. Just take a deep breath. How does that feel, right? So if you can breathe easier, you're going to be able to live easier. If you have less stress in your life, you're going to have less arguments. You're going to have less fights with your spouse. There's nothing so detrimental to a family than to have the husband and wife fighting, and then the children see that, and then they model that, and then that cycle continues. What if we were to be able to build, and I'm not saying that you're never going to have an argument or you're never going to have a fight about something. I'm just saying, let's take money off the table. Let's get your money right and figure that out. Now, a lot of you are like saying, well, Paris, I want to be more spiritual. I want to be more, all these other things. I need, money's not that important. I'm telling you right now, I'm a religious person. I'm a Christian. I've actually I'm an elder in my church. I was in charge of a congregation. I was the men's leader for a whole congregation of several hundred families. And I would sit across these people. I would talk to them. And I would ask them, are you reading your scriptures? Are you saying your prayers? Are you going to temple? Are you going to the church? And you know what? Most of them that would say they weren't doing those things, I'd ask them, what are some of the things that are holding you back from doing that? And you want to know one of the biggest things, a recurring theme, wasn't the only thing, but it was a recurring theme. I'm so worried about my money. I'm so worried about my bills. I'm so worried about my work. I'm so worried about providing for my family that I don't have time to really do the spiritual things, to do the emotional things. And that's a theme that I'm seeing, that I've seen for 20 plus years as I've met with families and individuals. There's this theme of that. Personally, I have a 6-figure passive income. I've sat down with religious leaders in my church that are decades older than me, who have said literally to me, I don't know how you know so much about the scriptures at your age. Most people don't get to know that much until they're retired. And that's because I've built a business to get back my time. I'm not saying that to impress you. I'm just saying that to impress upon you that once you get your money right, now you can have time for the spiritual things. So if you want to be a spiritual guru, do it. But if you get your money right, you get your resources right, you'll be able to be free to do that. Another thing too is that once you have reduced your stress, you'll be healthier. The number one cause of bankruptcies, or a leading cause of bankruptcies anyways, is medical expenses that pile up because we're so stressed out. We have heart disease, we have cancers, we have diabetes. All of these things can be related and can be turned back to stress. And stress is the leading cause of stress, statistically, is money. So how do we make America great again? My opinion is we make America wealthy again. We make America financially literate again. We teach people how to manage the money that they're making so that they have a positive cash flow, and then they can then build wealth and build that sense of tranquility and serenity that comes from knowing that you have the financial resources to weather any storm, that you can take a deep breath, that you don't have to argue with your wife or husband about every $5 they're spending, or every latte that they buy, or every trip to Target, or every trip to the mechanic shop. You don't have to argue about all that stuff because you can budget for it, you can save for it, you can build for it. It can be an important part of your spending plan, and you can actually have that be part of your goals and dreams as a couple. Have you sat down, if you're married right now, have you ever sat down with your spouse and dreamed about the future, what your financial life would be like? Have you ever done that? If you haven't, I highly recommend you do it. I have several resources as a coach that I sit down with people and I do some things like that with. Again, if you want to pick up my free ebook and get to know a little bit more about me as a coach, subscribe to the channel, hit like, comment below some of the things that you think we can do to make America great again. Do you think I'm on track? Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think if we make America wealthy again, if we can build on Americans and really strengthen Americans, will we be able to build a stronger America? Put in the comments below what your thoughts are. Maybe I'm on track, maybe I'm not, but this is one of the things that I think we can do to make America great again, is by making Americans great again. And one of the best ways to do that, of course, in my old mantra, is to go get your MBA, your massive bank account. By the way, I recently turned 50 and share with you why I started my YouTube channel. So if you want to watch that video, click right here and check that out. And we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.